I've seen a lot of movies. I've been to the cinema and I've watched a lot of movies. This, by far, is the most disappointing. I haven't been to the cinema in years. I think the last time I went to the cinema was before COVID, which was like what, 2018, 2019. I can't even remember what I was. And I specifically, no, yep, that's right. And I specifically, look at this, look at my t-shirt. Look at the t-shirt. I specifically bought this t-shirt out. I mean, to be fair, I wear this t-shirt all the time. Ever since I came back from Nigeria, I'm always wearing this t-shirt. But this t-shirt specifically has this man on it. And I specifically washed and made sure this t-shirt was worn to watch this movie. I was incredibly disappointed. Not to mention, if you ever are in London, right, and you choose to go to Cineworld, do not buy the nachos. I have never been so disgusted before in my life. I'm telling you right now. Stick to what you know. In the words of High School. The last time I bought nachos, I think I forgot the reason why I don't buy nachos, and that is the cheese tastes like sick. Now this time the cheese wasn't that bad, but the sour cream was Greek yogurt. Why? Why would you give me Greek yogurt and call it sour cream? What part of that was cream? And then the salsa tasted sweet. It tasted like bubble tea. I'm telling you, I took some of that salsa and it reminded me of when I used to live in Taiwan. It reminded me of fruit tea. Why? Why is this salsa? It says salsa, but I'm tasting fruit tea. I'm tasting passion fruit tea. Why? It tainted my memory. Because fruit teas are nice, but I don't want to taste it in my salsa. If you come to London and you go to Cineworld, do not buy the nachos. I warned you. It's going to ruin your entire experience. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's going to ruin your experience. I'm flabbergasted. I have no words. Now, this video is going to be different. It's not I'm going to sit down and do a review or I'm going to watch the movie. Obviously, I went to the cinema, I watched it, and I'm going to give my 2 cents about it. I'm going to say what I thought was good about the movie. And then I'm going to say what I didn't like about the movie. Why I'm so disappointed. So, let me just give a background to me, right? I enjoy a lot of music. I listen to all kinds of music, right? And from literally all over the world. And I have these moments where I listen to the greats, you know? There are moments where I listen to some Sade. There are moments where I listen to some Fela Kuti. There are moments where I listen to some Bob Marley. There are moments where I listen to some Shaka Khan, okay? Hell, there are times where I'm listening to a shit ton of Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, right? I have these increments. I don't listen to them, right? Like, it's not a daily listen, but when I'm feeling it, yes, I'm listening to the greats. And in regards to Bob Marley, that man, right, he is coming from a different point in history, right? He's not my generation. He's my parents' generation. He's my parents' history. He's coming from the 60s, the 70s. And his music and what makes him a revolutionary is because of that history. It's because of that culture. And it inspired his music. For people like me, of the younger generation, we do not understand that history because we did not live through that history. Our parents do, or our parents did. And when we listen to certain music from the past, all it is to us is music. We just listen to it, we just enjoy it, but we don't feel it the way that our parents do. When you do a biopic on somebody who has such an impact on not just his country, but the world. My expectation of you, and yes, I know you're going to say to me, stop having expectations. This is not just any man. This is not just any musician. I'm sorry, I had expectations. And my expectation was, you're going to help me feel, see, understand, just a glimpse, just a glimmer of what that history looked like, of what that culture looked like, and that type of impact that his music had on that. Not just a country, but around the world. The movie begins where we're in Jamaica and they're gathered together. I think he's at a press conference and they're discussing him doing a peace concert. Yeah. At this point, I think he's already famous, he's already well known, and boom, he's in his house and he gets shot. And then boom, his wife, this is not funny, but this is genuinely how I felt when I was watching this movie. I understand there's only so much you can do in 2 hours, but it literally just felt like they were trying to cram as much information or as much of that timeline into this movie, and it just felt like every minute was a boom boom moment. Nothing got developed, nothing got explained, there was no connection. It was just one moment peace conference, the next moment someone's getting shot and we're in a house, the next moment the wife looks like she's about to die, but then we're in the hospital and she's gonna recover because her dreadlocks saved her life. The next moment she's walking around and she's fine. The next moment, boom, Exodus. It's like, okay. The next moment they're having a conversation and I'm just out of loss. I'm just completely like, what, hold on, what? What's going on? And don't get me wrong, it's not a movie where if you know absolutely nothing about him, like, it's not going to give you a step-by-step guide into his story and into his history, but at least could there be some kind of connection? I feel like, for me, this is a personal, and I want to just point out, this is just my personal opinion and just based on what I received from this or what my perspective was from this and what I really wanted to get from this. I can honestly tell you, if you just want to go and just enjoy some music and just have a feel-good movie, hey, enjoy yourself. Right? This is solely just my one and only opinion. One thing for me that I would say is that I feel like we know Bob Marley as an artist, we know him as a musician, and this whole movie was just him for the majority. Just, it was like, boom, idea, song made. There was no actual dig or no actual incentive as to how this song, it was like you're trying to portray like he's just some genius. Like he's literally just, like the song, the music just came to him. You know, the inspiration was just there. And it's, again, I'm going to say this, you know, fair enough. I don't know him personally. Okay, the people who made this movie will know him better than I could ever. But if that isn't the case and you're really just trying to portray this concept or portray this idea that, you know, he's just this genius, it's like, for what and for why? He is a man and he is a human being. And you spend the 2 hour of that movie just literally just throwing out music and just throwing out sound. And I personally feel like a piece of criticism. I know I was going to talk about what's good before I talk about what's bad, but hey, it's just coming out of my mouth. I feel like what they really, I would have preferred personally, is you kind of just stepped away from the music and kind of shown the man behind the music.
We describe our music as a road to consciousness, you know? Yeah. So, regardless which label people might call it, we're satisfied with any label, but we call it music still, you know? Revolutionary music.
Revolutionary in what respect?
Revolutionary of the mind, you know, bring the reality of what has been hidden from the wise and the prudent to the babe and the suckling.
And even at the end, when they spoke about his cancer, it was kind of just like overlooked. It was just written, and that was the end of it. Oh, and he also he eventually did the tour in Africa. It was like, it's a sad way to go, and he died at a very young age. But it's a very important aspect of his life and his legacy from beginning to end, and it just felt like everything was just rushed, everything was just kaboom. And if you just took away from what we already know and kind of tell us something that we don't know, then you didn't need to add in all that other fluff. Because I can find his music online. I didn't need to see it in a movie. The whole movie is just literally him being inspired and making music. And they kept doing something which really bothered me. There was something that just bothered me. And I don't know this personally because I'm not in Bob Marley's head. But they kept doing this. There's like this ring of fire, and then there's this white man on a horse who is supposed to be his dad, right? And they kept doing this segment of this young biracial young boy who's longing for his father, who is nowhere to be found. Your dad, and I'm not gonna disrespect him or his family, but I'm just gonna state some facts here, yeah? Your father was a white man. Your father was a colonizer. He was an overseer on a plantation in Jamaica, which is how he found your mum. And he had intercourse, which conceived you, with your mother, who was a black woman, who was at the age of, I believe, 17 or 18. And he was, I think, 59 or 60. Those two things, in the year of which you were born, and the fact that this man, this white man, want nothing to do with you for, I'm gonna argue, obvious reasons, because of what I can assume what kind of man he was and what he was trying to do. I didn't understand why that segment just kept popping up, as if it's just a young boy who's just longing for a father, who's just, where is he? I don't want to say I'm disturbed by it, but it's almost like you're trying to find a positive in what I would take as something that's not a positive. I'm not gonna deep who his parents were and how he came about. History is history, right? What happened, what happened. But it didn't make sense to me why they kept putting it up as if it was some type of silver lining, like it was something that, and then eventually he does get on the horse and his dad does take him away, and it's just like, I personally just didn't understand. I didn't understand the positive in what you were trying to teach me or what you were trying to show me. And even if that was the case, that, you know, a young boy just longing for his father, I'm just putting two and two together. I'm just piecing stuff together, and I'm like, yeah. I don't know why was that necessary, but So, there's another thing. So throughout this movie, right, one thing, I will point out some of the things that I thought was a positive. Number one, let's go into language. I'm not going to go too deep and too hard into the facts that I understood every single word that was being said. They tried, I'll give you that. They tried. They sound like British people putting on a Jamaican accent, and they did pretty well. you know, there wasn't. I mean, there was. I'm trying very hard not to criticize the language just because I feel like for me, being born and raised in London, there's a lot of Jamaicans here. There's a huge population of Jamaicans here, and British-born Jamaicans, when they put on a Jamaican accent, you can tell they're British. When you listen to people's parents, I cannot understand a word they're saying. If you listen to the parents of a Jamaican, right, or you listen to a Jamaican back in Jamaica, I don't understand what they're saying.
I never kill a fly nor a mosquito.
Who does the killing for you?
My girl, what you really call me on your TV if you do? If you send me a prison, me go there already. And then find me not guilty after then give me 1 year and 6 months for suffer for things that I don't know about. Then send me out and say I find it not guilty.
As it should be. You're speaking to each other, right? I think that's just something that kind of just made me think, when you were in Jamaica, I just felt like, why is it I understand what everyone is saying? And I know you're probably thinking to me, well, duh, we're watching a movie, we're English speakers, we need to understand them. And I'm like, Language is a huge part of culture. It's a huge part of history, and it tells you a lot about people. So for me personally, me not being able to understand you is a huge indicator that you're speaking in your language, right? You're speaking patois. You're speaking to each other, and that is your culture, right? That is a part of the people. That is who they are, right? And I felt like the main characters, they tried their best, right? But in terms of the people in Jamaica, that's supposed to be the actors in Jamaica. Maybe I'm being too harsh. But it's just something that that's just something that I picked up on, right? That a lot of the Jamaicans here in London that are from Jamaica, they have a certain way of speaking, right? And that wasn't really reflective in the movie. And I'm just saying, like, it's just for me, it's just about culture, innit? Like, the way people talk in language is a huge part of culture. It really makes up the communications between people, and it's what connects people. It's how they communicate with each other. It's the community of people. And I feel like when you take that away in order to appease my ears, it's like, what are you doing? You're stripping away culture. Like, it feels like you're appeasing to money, you're appeasing to commercial, you're appeasing to whatever. And I'm like, that's fine, but it's that's something. Another thing I felt like they did do right, I guess, is that they did give me a glimpse. They gave me moments. I was able to see bits and bobs of his life. I was able to see the message. I was able to see the type of mindset that he had. I was able to see the type of aura that he carried. I was able to learn a little bit about Rastafarian. I got a glimpse, right? I got something, right? And like I said, I understand how hard it is to get a 2-hour movie and try and cram as much of a person's life, as much of a person's impact into that time. And as rushed as it may have been, I got bits and bobs, and I got pieces, right? I got something, right? And I was able to sing along to certain songs. I can't complain. The actors there's nothing for me to say about the actors. The actors were phenomenal. The actors were amazing. They embodied their characters. They did. The person who played Bob Marley, he definitely embodied his character really well. His stage presence was actually really good. I'm not gonna lie. I actually went back to watch some like old live performances, and I'm like, he was actually dancing like that. It's actually funny. Some people have criticized the facts that the person that played Bob Marley, he's too much of a pretty boy. He's too good looking to be playing him. I mean, I'm not really. To be fair, I'm gonna be honest. I thought he was J. Cole. Like, I didn't even know who he was. For me personally, I can see what people were saying. Like, I thought he was a very good looking guy, and he looked awfully young. And not implying that Bob Marley was an old man, but he looked very mature. So I didn't really care about that. I think he embodied his character personally really well. The person who played his wife, I think she did a really good job. Like I said, I just loved the scene where she actually had her moment.
Where you going?
Move, man.
Huh?
Why you acting like a jealous teenage boy, so?
What you think would have changed?
Something don't change, but something definitely change. We never used to do all of this. The whining and dining, parties, clubs, I mean, go with all type of people from who knows where, doing
How
who
you
knows
think
what.
the music have a spread? Me sit down in a corner like me better than everybody else.
No, I know why Peter and Bonnie didn't stay.
Peter and Bunny them left cause them never want to do the work them have to do. What them did want me do? Just suffer and my children them suffer, no man.
Children them are suffering, you don't even know, Bob.
You suffer. How you suffer?
I have to be a wife and a soldier. How much longer I can do that?
A wife. You think me no know what I want?
What you know, Bob?
The guy we have down in Jamaica. Eh? Where you go? Where you go?
You think you can do what you want and me get none in return?
You get none.
I need more than a house and a car. More than money. You come and go. While I make a home for your children, including the ones them from your other woman. On top of all of that, I sing in the back.
You don't like it? You don't like it? You don't see where we're there? Paris.
You think I care about Paris? You didn't think I had my own opportunities? Huh? I had the solettes, I had offers, and I gave them up for the message for us. And they threw it in my face. Who really know you? Who really care about you, Bob? Chris, the marketing genius, are done signing deals in the dark. You swim in pollution, you get polluted. We used to talk about this and everything else when you only had one shirt. I give you everything you asked me for. Everything. You're so naive.
It was the most emotion I got from her. It was the most movement I got from her. And then throughout the movie, she's very passive, she's very supportive, she's just a very kind, sweet woman. And again, I'm not implying that she needs to be aggressive or she needs to be forthright or she needs to be vocal. But it's like, for a woman who had such an impact, for a woman who still to this day is such an influential woman, a woman who was so talented, right? It's like, I understand the movie isn't about her, but the fact is, you were there every step of the way. The movie wasn't about you, but you were a part of this. You were there in the back. You were there in the shadow. So it just felt like in this movie, she was just there. She was just, I don't know, just there. And I would have loved if she just had more depth, right? We're gonna go on to the negatives. Negative. I don't have anything negative to say. Like I said, let me be raw, let me be honest. I don't have any negative to say. I feel like with a lot of these biopics, a lot of with these movies that people make on, I haven't actually seen any of them. I know Whitney Houston's one came out not long ago. I haven't seen it. Every time they do a biopic of Michael Jackson, I swear to God, I'm not even trying. I'm not even trying. I feel like they're just taking a piss out of that man at this point.
Woo! Fantastic.
Blew him away.
That was fantastic, man.
Okay. I will remember this forever. What's the date?
5 minutes after midnight, September 11, 2001. They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Prince. Mother.
Michael. Bobby.
It's Armageddon.
It's the beginning of the end.
Mother.
Somebody tell
Get
me
Paris
something.
and
What's
Prince.
going on?
Get them out of here. I don't
Yes,
want them to
yes.
see this.
Okay, come on.
Start packing. We're going back to Neverland.
I don't really watch biopics because I just feel like people don't really embody or really it just feels like a money making scheme, and I don't care for it. This was the one biopic I just really wanted to watch. I haven't been to the cinema in a long time, and it's the one that I'm just like, I'm gonna walk into a cinema, this is gonna be the one. And this for me, it's more of a personal issue that I have with this movie. And my personal issue with it is just I feel like it didn't really tell me anything that I couldn't find online. I couldn't find on YouTube. It didn't tell. I went into the cinema knowing things that I came out knowing the same thing. I didn't come out with the cinema knowing anything different. And I think that's the one thing that's really irked me or really bothered me, is that Bob Marley... I can't explain this. Like, Jamaica was going through it after their independence from the British rule. Jamaica was going through it. They were damn near a civil war if they didn't already have one. That country was in turmoil, and in the movie they show a glimpse of it. But all in all, it just felt like it was just a normal day in their life. They showed this element of positivity where when he went back to Jamaica, everyone's all screaming and laughing and happy, and they're all jumping around on the car. And again, I'm not irking and urging to see negativity or to see things in a dark way, but I feel like with movies, there's always this like puppet that's trying to play with strings to try and manipulate and make you see things for what they are not. A lot of the time you want to portray Jamaica, Nigeria, all these black countries, African Caribbean countries in the most negative light, as being poor, as being destructive, as being corrupt, and just disgusting places to live, poor, right? They're always trying to portray it that way, even though these countries are nothing like that. It's full of prosperity, and it's full of community, and it's full of culture, and there's a lot of money in that, or a lot of economy in that. And then you have movies like this where we are supposed to see the violence, we are supposed to see the corruption, we are supposed to see you are supposed to see the people at war, the people fighting, the people just going through it, because that is specifically what was happening at the time. And it's because of what was happening at the time why he was so important, why he was needed, because he was able to bring peace to that. He was able to bring people together as a result of that. And it's not just happening in Jamaica. It was happening in Africa as well. In these times, Nigeria was going through the exact same thing. Again, bringing people together. It was a sense of community when the country was going through it because of the government. Do you understand? And that is the influence that he had. He was like the silver lining between all that corruption. And they spent this whole movie of him just playing music in London. Like he was just hanging about in London. and then he died of cancer. That was the end. I sat down in that movie and I was waiting for something to happen. I was waiting for something to just change. And besides the argument, that was the highlight, and then it went back downhill for me. I feel like you didn't need to go into the politics deep. It's not about the politics. You didn't need to go deep into the culture. It's not about the culture. You didn't need to spend your whole life in London. It's not about. We don't need to see him just playing music or what inspired. Sorry. They didn't even do that. I was gonna say what inspired his music. They didn't even do that. It was like, oop, light bulb, music. Oop, light bulb, album cover. It felt rushed. It felt like things. It felt like a flip card. It felt like a flip book. It was just, and the end. Concert and the end. with a little bit of some cinematography here and there. Cute. It just felt like everything just happened and then nothing happened. A somehow led to Z. You could definitely be a commercialized movie. You can bring all the glitz and glams and whatever, but the connection and the bolts that put things together, it felt like they were all just disbarred. It just felt like it was all over the place. Yeah, it had no depth. It had just... Something that I haven't heard people talking about is Kwanda Jal Enrique and Nia Ashi. I hope I said their names right. I'm not gonna lie, when watching the movie, I thought they were just two young kids in Jamaica acting as some kind of romantic relief because we wasn't really getting much from Bob and Rita. I only realised, like, when towards the end when they got a record deal who they were. I thought they were sweet. If I was to give it a different look or a different perspective and get out of my feelings, I can certainly see what was trying to be portrayed. The director clearly took a point in Bob's life that he thought was a good part to show, as it leads to what is arguably the greatest album to exist. I think the display of young Rita and Bob, where they seem to be a little bit more lovey-dovey and young and full of life, I don't think these actors are getting the praise that they should, because I personally prefer Bob and Rita when they were young. But maybe that's the transition to show them that way, and then the older version is a little bit more purposeful, a friendship type of relationship, which I don't mind. Some people have moaned about this, and not everyone's relationship has to have PDA. They very well could have been that way in life. They seem to have an understanding of each other or a connection with each other that just goes beyond intimacy, and I ain't mad at it. I kind of just pertained it to their beliefs. I still say it was rushed, and this very well could have been a Netflix series. I enjoyed my movie review on the movie One Love, Bob Marley. I would definitely suggest going out and just watching it if you feel like watching it. Like, just get out of your house, go to the cinema, enjoy a movie. Don't let what I say disbar you from watching the film. Watch what you want to watch, enjoy what you want to enjoy. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Watch whatever you want to watch. Enjoy whatever you want to enjoy. This is just my opinion from what I've watched. I hope you enjoyed my video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.